Okay. Hi, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Worldwide TV Network, WomenOnTV.tv, and iTeam247 out of Tennessee. And this is an impromptu show as usual for Movie Reviews and More. So I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. So Ralph, let me start with you first. Go ahead.
My name is Ralph Echemendia, and I'm known as the Ethical Hacker. My background has been in computer hacking for about 27, 28 years. Started at 14, and in some bizarre way, I transitioned into Hollywood and have worked on a number of films and worked on a number of cases with leaks in both film and also in the music space. So I'm very involved in both music, movies, and technology in many different ways. So I'm happy to be here.
And Ralph, you don't know, you and I were supposed to talk about 2 years ago, and we couldn't get the time, and you were busy, and you're going to tell me why you were busy later on, but you had a real valid reason why you were busy. And then Terry Marie is my number one co-host.
Hi.
Out of Redondo. So Ralph, Emmanuel, and Terry.
Hi,
Hey, Terry.
how are you?
Hello.
So Emmanuel, tell us who you are, where you came from.
My name is Emmanuel Powell. I skateboarded for most of my life, and I've been in some movies and a couple commercials and stuff like that. The biggest one was the Purge Anarchy, where I played the scary guy who was on the covers of the posters and all that stuff. So, just here in LA myself too. Yeah, we're neighbors, Terry. So.
Where you live again? I'm sorry, just
In Hollywood.
Oh, Hollywood. Okay, yeah, I'm in Redondo Beach. Not too far.
All right, so Terry.
Yeah. So just
tell them who you are and where you came from, so that they know.
Oh, okay. My name's Terry Marie. I'm a fitness competitor. I co-host with Brian on Movies Review and More, and I'm also a businesswoman, and I'm happy to be here today.
So with that, Emmanuel, does the purge seem even more real to you now with Corona going on?
Oh man, I don't. I've seen the movie once, so I'm like, I don't even pay attention to anything. There was a lot of looting going on right here in Hollywood, and there was people who went and tried to loot some stores just right across the street from the local places. We had to go out there and stop a few people and stuff, so it was getting a little crazy out there.
That must have been crazy. I mean, we kind of over here in South Bay, everybody boarded up all their businesses, so we didn't get hit really hard because I think we had a bunch of protests here, but they thankfully were all peaceful here in South Bay. Yeah,
after it was one day of that, and then after that, we had a bunch of peaceful protests coming around, and we had like a big one on Sunday. If you saw the pictures, Hollywood was just full of people. Yeah,
I don't know. Did you get a chance to see the Hermosa Beach protest? I was really proud of our community. We started in Manhattan Beach, went down all the way to Redondo, and it was just a march on the beach. It was pretty good.
Hey Ralph, I always wonder, this has got to be an interesting time for your average hacker. Not that there's an average hacker, but what's going through your friend's mind? What's going through your mind as chaos is going on? How are you seeing things?
Well, the truth is chaos. The internet is made on chaos. So the physical chaos that's taking place is only fueling further chaos on the internet when it comes to cybercrime, when it comes to misinformation and disinformation. And so that's how a lot of hacks are taking place, right? You have a massive increase in like phishing attacks, right? Which are the lowest hanging fruit. And using coronavirus and Black Lives Matter and all these things that happen, hackers usually use that stuff to basically make you believe that you're going to a site that's supporting that and grabbing further, more information from you that way. So we have to be real careful. And because the news is, you haven't heard anything about any kind of cybercrime since coronavirus started. In fact, you haven't heard about anything else. And then Black Lives Matter happens. And then all of a sudden you don't hear anything about coronavirus for a while. And the truth is there's all this stuff happening behind the scenes, if you will, that isn't being reported, even though it may be reported in certain industry specific, journalist publications and whatnot. It's not being reported by the mass media. So I think as we transition out of this chaos, you're going to start seeing other chaos, right? All of what's happened since, that just hasn't gotten any light, right? And the truth is we continue to be, to some degree, interestingly enough, one thing we are more today because of coronavirus is we're more connected, right, than we were before, in the sense of like, there's people I've spoken to that I haven't spoken to in many years, and only because now we can sit here and reach out, and even having a Zoom birthday party, right? There's people attending that wouldn't be attending, so we're more connected. And as we become more and more and more connected as a result of being quarantined and all this, the risks increased, right? But we're not feeling that yet, right? Because you only heard about the Zoom hack, right, as coronavirus started, because so many people shifted to Zoom. And that's how hackers work. Bottom line is,
Zoom
what's
hack. What's
popular?
Zoom hack?
Early on, there was a hack with, Zoom blew up, right? And so, like I said, hackers then focus on vulnerabilities and exploits into whatever's hot, right? So Zoom got hot, and so some hackers found vulnerabilities and exploits in Zoom and would pop into a meeting like this and start playing porn, so it wasn't really a financial as much as messing with people, but it did show that, that obviously people who shouldn't have access to a private meeting. And so that hit the news, and that's about the only thing you've heard about as far as a major hack. You've heard about some quote unquote anonymous attacking, the Minneapolis Police Department or that sort of thing, but that's very gray, because the truth is anonymous could be misinformation or disinformation too, right? So
I just watched a video the other day with some guy who his name is Jim Browning, and he has a thing where he actually reverse hacked some people in India, and then ended up like tearing apart a whole giant ring of people who were trying to scam people. And he got into their cameras and got their system files. When they tried to do it to him, he went into their files, and he got all the names of all the people they try to scam. And then they called they ended up getting a hold of the authorities in India, and got this whole like building shut down full of scammers. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, man, that's very common too. You just be surprised to how many quote unquote companies out there around the world that their job is actually just hacking people in a way, right? Just in many different ways. There's even quote unquote companies that'll do. How you get the little CAPTCHA thing when in certain websites, the thing that I am not a robot, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the mechanisms that was put in by many websites to stop automated tools from hacking into accounts, right? Well, there's groups in India, in fact, that I know of, would you just pay them to just hit the "I'm not a robot"? So they automate the rest of the process. Then that page goes to a human. The human hits "I'm not a robot," and the rest of the hack keeps going. So I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, the cybercrime industry. I think probably even more so than the security industry.
Yeah, I don't think anybody mentioned that healthcare was a big target for hacking. I work in healthcare, and my company corporate was hit twice, and I was getting emails from other coworkers that were hacked emails.
Yeah,
So,
and in fact, healthcare. I'm glad you brought that one up, because that is an industry that, number one, doesn't get anywhere near as much budget for cybersecurity issues, right? And I started in healthcare, so I can relate. I deployed the first medical charting, electronic medical charting system.
I work for EMR company. Yep, I sell orthopedic software for billing and charting.
Yep.
So
yep.
that's my alley.
So and here's the crazy part: it's unlike any other industry, and that includes energy. That includes whatever you pick the industry. If you get hacked, let's face it, you're not going to die, right? Even if even if the power gets turned off and the power grid goes down, we might get cold, right? We might get warm, but we're not going to die. And that's the real danger that exists with the healthcare industry, that not enough focus gets put on this issue of cybersecurity from a budgetary perspective. Because if I change, you know, for example, on the computer system, you know, a drug by 0.0, you'll kill somebody. So just, you know, and I've done that, by the way, not that I've killed somebody. What I mean is testing medical systems. You know, I can change any number of devices by just making the decimal point look different, and a nurse would follow what they see, and they're gonna, you know, give that person too much or too little of a drug. So that's just one of the places where that's the one industry that truly is different from all the others, because even if they hack our bank and we can't use our ATM, we're gonna freak out, but we're not gonna die. And healthcare is just one that really needs, you know, a higher, and hopefully this COVID thing will help to push that, right? Because, hey, before, what the hell did we actually, when did we ever talk about healthcare workers and first responders this way? Never, you know, all of a sudden, because of this pandemic, now they're important. And hopefully that will shine light on the importance of yeah, and I don't like to call it security, guys. I like to try to change everybody's mind, because security is a component of safety. What we care about is safety, not security, right? There's a bunch of other things underneath the word safety, including security, including availability, privacy, and all that, right? But the moment you say security, it's almost like people dealing with the guy at the door at the club. You don't really want to deal with him, right? It's kind of like, oh, if I can get around this big dude with a shirt that says security, I am. And so I like to try to change everybody's perception that this is really an issue of safety. What we really want is safety, and security is a byproduct of doing it right.
Emmanuel, go ahead, Terry, go ahead.
Oh no, I wanted to say just healthcare in general, just the way, you know, you were talking about the Zoom meetings has also changed. And I see it going this direction. I don't think it's going to stop after COVID, that all my doctors now are doing telemedicine, and I sell telemedicine, and orthopedics is you know, very hands-on, but they're still seeing their patients, you know, prior to their visit on telehealth, after their visit on telehealth. So that way they're limiting that space in the office. But people are actually really liking it because they don't have to drive to the doctor's office for, you know, those checkups. So again, that's going to be booming as far as the telehealth market for healthcare now. It's just a new way we're doing things.
Absolutely. I think every industry is going to change and become a lot more telemedicine,
telecommute. Yeah, it makes everybody more efficient, which they didn't realize, because they don't realize how much less. I mean, just by having that patient at home connecting, they're saving time. Actually, the doctors are able to bring in more income that way. Yeah. So it's a mindset change, and they're forced to do it, because I've been selling telehealth for the last 3 years, and the ortho guys are like, why would I do telehealth? I'm hands-on with my patients. So now I've got doctors that are like, I just want to have a practice that's strictly telehealth, and I'm going to refer my patients if they need surgery, if they need to go to physical therapy. So the whole way of doing business has changed for them.
Yeah, Terry. In fact, you know, to your point, here's the thing about adoption of technology, and I've been in it from before the internet days, from the BBS days. So the thing is, you know, we tend to, as human beings, psychologically fight change, right? Even though it's inevitable. And I remember specifically with electronic charting, I worked for a hospital called Miami Children's Hospital, and we were the first to deploy it as far as a hospital was concerned. NASA had deployed it at the time, and every doctor fought it. Every doctor and nurse was basically like, no, we don't want to have to do electronic charting. We learned how to do paper charting, and that's what we want to do. And they fought it. And of course, you know, hospital executives said, you can fight it all you want, but we already bought it, so you got to use it. And the funny thing is after it was implemented, about a year later, we had a hurricane coming through South Florida. And then, you know, we initiate all of these hurricane procedures, right? And one of those procedures is you turn off all these systems as you move them to basically a mobile data center that pulls up outside of the hospital. And so for about 48 hours, we're doing this transition to the 18-wheeler that's outside, right? And during that 48-hour period, and this had only been implemented for a year, okay? After all the no's and no, we don't want to deal with this, and okay, it had been implemented for a year, hurricane comes, boom, we're doing this transition, and all of a sudden the doctors forgot how to chart on paper, okay? I would come up and go, hey, are you charting? And they'd be like, no, we'll just wait till the system comes back up, which was kind of really dangerous. I'd be like, no, you can't wait till the system comes back up. How are you going to remember what the lab results were, and so on and so forth? They're like, oh, no, we'll remember. But they didn't even want to deal with paper charts. And, and then let's go a little bit further, right? This is when things have changed and adoption of technology has become such. I had let's call it a millennial, right? Pick up an atlas and look at it and say, wow, I didn't know they print Google Maps.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wait, that's what a map was before Google Maps. But the way they thought about it was, wow, look, they put Google Maps in a book.
I think that the doctors were upset about going from paper to electronic because they thought that they were going to have that patient interaction, which I'm telling you that telehealth brings that back, because they can be, they can do electronic healthcare records and do telehealth at the same time. So it's really interesting where we're going.
Well, I like the fact that you can call it tele now, because going into the entertainment world, everything is connected now. There is no divide. Not that there ever was the last 5 years. People thought everything was segregated, but it's a lot closer. So Emmanuel, when it comes to that, and even Ralph, but Emmanuel first, you've got to do all your stuff if you're going for those auditions by telecommunications, even though they kind of started it 10 years ago. Now you've got to do it, because I'm talking to all those actors who weren't on the ball, who were going in for those auditions. Now they're like, what? I got to put myself on my cell phone or a camera for an audition? Yes, you do. This is what that's where we are now. Talk about that experience.
For me, I'm so used to going in and auditioning. I actually kind of feel weird when I have to film myself and do it on camera and not see the reactions from people. So it's kind of weird for me. But I booked a commercial at the end of 2018 from a Skype audition, because I was actually in Germany at the time, and they asked me if I could come back and audition. I was like, no. I said if I book it, I'll get back. So I had a Skype audition at 3 a.m. or something, and that worked out well. But there's been a few other auditions coming up that have to be through self-tape and stuff like that, and I feel like I don't do well with those. But I'm so used to just being around people and people seeing me, and with people get nervous when there's a crowd, a room full of a crowd of producers and directors and all that stuff. But I look at them and I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
It's going to be very, very interesting because, as what Ralph was saying, this is the way it's going to go from now on. So you might get called in at the last minute to do something. Imagine if you're good on camera, but you're not good in person. Go to millennials at that point, right? They love the text. They're terrible picking up the phone call. They're marginally okay on emails, and I get on them all the time about that, because everything goes out. No, I do. I call them out because I don't care. Because here's the thing. The influencers that we have 97 million followers in our social media network. And when I'm telling you would be right for this, pick up the phone first. Can you text me? No, because I'm busy doing things with 2 phones and 3 computers. So I don't have that kind of time. And if you really want it, pick it up, or else I'm going to give it to somebody else. Ralph, go ahead.
No, that's a good point. I mean, that's the whole thing is, in business, in the tech business or business, they call it pivoting, you have to pivot to what is happening, and this is call it the new norm, if you will, right? Is that we have now become a lot more accustomed to and a lot more comfortable with the use of technology this way. It's just happened really quickly. And, this COVID situation just accelerated the adoption of technology to a level that, here's the interesting part about this. If we look at this from the perspective of just the meaning of certain words, right? If I asked you, what is the opposite of physical? It's virtual. And what is the opposite of virtual? Physical. But it's not. We actually live in a virtual reality right now. We don't have
we
to
live in
put
the
goggles
Matrix.
on.
Yeah, the Matrix is real.
Absolutely. We're creating our own reality, which is what we were always doing. I mean, I've known that, my God, since October of 1993. I've been creating my own reality. And people didn't get me back then. They're starting to get us now, Terry. I mean, what took them so long? Like you said, everything that I found out, it took them a year later, whether it was Segway. I went after their AI technology. And the reason I went after them, Ralph and Emmanuel, is because they snubbed me the year before. No one would give me any pay attention. And then I threw my numbers in the face. And then Terry's been there for a lot of the stuff that we've done. So I said, these are the two girls. It's just not me. I couldn't have done it without their help. So you know what? If you give something to me, you got to give it to them.
Hey, Ryan, you know what else is interesting that we brought up too about technology? Because, okay, so my other world is I'm a fitness competitor. I compete. I work with other trainers. And all my friends are having to do their training through virtual now. So even that has been affected, where people like, why would I have my personal trainer train me, online? So again, it's affected, I think, every single industry.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing it differently. Yeah.
There's like a slew of online acting classes now and this and that. I'm like,
yeah. Well, even Iman, even for you, like, I don't know if you've seen what's going on, or you don't need to, but you will, is, new production guidelines are coming into play, right? Where even how things are going to be shot are not going to be the way they were. You're not going to have 50, 60 people on set anymore. They're going to have to be a lot more efficient.
Didn't they just start letting people film today, I believe?
Yeah, they have basically published a sort of the production guidelines for that across the world, right? So they're doing it by country and what the production guidelines are, because it gets complicated. Even, for example, if Iman had to go shoot right now in Turkey, right? Like, what is to say that Iman doesn't land in Turkey and then gets put in quarantine for 14 days? That ain't gonna fly on a movie, like you're supposed to go straight to set. So there's all of these different issues that are taking place that they have to define to reduce risk because of the insurance component of filming, right? So I think today they're starting to open up the filming, and mainly here, right? But it's still very gray to what filming, on a global scale, how we're going to really get back to that. But it is going to be, interestingly enough, this has pushed the envelope on efficiency across the board.
And the interesting thing that you mentioned, Ralph, is that my friend, and Terry, you met him, Chef Rush, real Chef Rush. He's the White House chef. He's got 23-inch arm. He's in the world of fitness. He went to Turkey last night. I talked to him because I wanted to have him on the show because he's the White House chef for 23 years, but he's also in the world of fitness. So I'm like, you're going to Turkey? I know the cases are really minimum there. He goes, yeah, that's why I'm going. I'm going on a private plane. I'll be back by the 16th. Call me on the 17th. We'll book the show. I'm like, are you sure you're not going to be quarantined just in case? He's going for Survivor because the show is popular over there, even though Survivor's not shooting anything anymore. I go,
right.
Call me. I'm going to call you on the 17th because I want to know how it went.
Yeah.
I want to do some traveling too, but gotta wait for. I don't know what the hell is going on in the world.
Well, here's my question, and I asked Terry this last week. Eman, are you comfortable if you had to go and jump on a plane within the next 48 hours? Would you do it?
Not without doing my research of where I'm going.
Okay, so would you go to the movies within the next week, based on where you're at? What state you in? You're in
right here,
right?
Yeah.
Would you go to any movie theater within the next week to see a movie?
No.
Ralph, would you go?
No, probably not. Again,
Terry, would you go?
I'm more, I like to watch movies at the privacy of my home. I'm like that.
Well,
so
we know that. That's where everything's going.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm flying. I'm going to be traveling at the end of July. I mean, I'm going to obviously wear a mask on the plane. But my friends that have flown have said that I have a lot of friends that are flight attendants too. So A lot of them have not gone back to work yet. I know that there's, I don't know. I almost feel like I'm more dangerous at the market than anywhere else, to tell you the truth.
Well, the reason why I asked that, because I've been calling and dealing with Regal Theaters. AMC is being bought by Amazon. There aren't any new releases. I've been in with the publicist. I was talking to Sunshine Sachs in New York for Tribeca because it was canceled this year. I want to see the films. The reason I say these things, if I'm not going to the movies, I was in Georgia this time last year before Terry, we went to Tennessee because we were there June 19th of last year. If I'm not going to the movies, I'm not going to subject it to my friends because they're not ready yet. I guarantee you, I'm talking to Greg Lemley from Lemley Theaters, which is the oldest movie chain. Their grandfather started Universal Pictures, Universal Studios. And I'm going to help them. Starline Tours, the tours does all the Hollywood tours. I'm working on helping them. Families come take those tours. Because guess what? All the Asians used to, as soon as they landed here, they jumped on the Starline Tours. They don't have them. And remember this, the Asians have been wearing the mask for years. So believe me, they didn't start taking the mask off when they got to the US, they was ingrained. Guess what we have to do now? We got to join the Asians, right? That's where
Which
we
is
are.
funny because you would see them at the airport and you didn't get it, right?
So that's why I asked those questions, because I'm talking to these people. I was, Sinbad, I did a show with Sinbad 2 days ago. He's driving to Arizona because he doesn't want to fly right now, but he also, his agent booked it. Guess what we found out yesterday? The most cases in the country are in Arizona right now. Now, if his agent hadn't booked that, he wouldn't be going, because he talked about, I don't want to go with all this stuff. And that was him. And I'm talking to a couple other A-list celebrities about it. They don't want to work for the rest of the year, nor do they have to. Now, I haven't had him on the show yet, but we've been talking about it behind the scenes. It's really interesting. That's why I wanted to know your take on stuff. No one I know wants to, well, Terry wants to go, she wants to go away, but no one wants to jump on that because they know what's kind of going on. Well, you want to get away. You want to go away for your birthday. That's why.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take precautions. I know that they're cleaning the air. I mean, I know they're disinfecting the point of those planes that people's eyes are burning. There's so much disinfectant on there, because I've heard that from, flight attendant friends. So, but gyms are opening this week, and I'm going to go back to the gym on Monday. So that's going to be interesting, So, I mean, some people are afraid to go. I mean, I don't know. It seems like people in fitness, don't care. They're just ready to go back to the gym. I don't know one person in fitness is not going back.
Well, and Terry, to that point, right? Like I said, I work quite a bit in the music industry, and my daughter's an artist. So you guys check her out. Hennessy, that's her name. That's her real name. And if you wonder why it is her mom got me drunk on Hennessy. But Hennessy and Manifestus is their little collective of artists, and 3 of them are from Estonia, and 3 of them are from LA. And we've been working together now for about 2 years. And, my daughter just dropped her debut album. Well, with music, you got to support, to support the album, you got to tour, right? Now, if you ask these kids, hey guys, if we could tour tomorrow, would you? They're already, before we actually open up here, by the way, guys, it looks really bad from the timing side. We're not going to see any music festivals or
no. Coachella's done, Stagecoach's done. Yeah, I know. Sad.
For a while. And I mean, not even potentially next year, right? It might even be beyond that before these big events come back here in the US. However, in Europe and in Eastern Europe and places like that, that's not going to be the case. They might actually be having festivals and shows this summer. So you ask them, hey, what do you guys, they're like, we're not living in fear. We got a tour. That's
I mean, that's their life. You know what I mean? It's the same, whether it be, if you're used to being on stage. So all the fitness competitors, including myself, I was going to compete in May. That got, canceled. And, so now I'm like, okay, I want to get back out there. I'm at the point, if I got to go to Arizona or if I have to go to, I don't know, another state to compete, I'm going to do it, because I want to get back on stage. So it's just that's part of you. If you're a competitor, if you're an actor, a musician, I mean, that's you're there to be on stage, and that's what you live for. So.
Yep.
Now, man, we got about 4 minutes left. Talk about what you hope to do coming up for the future. What do you see between now and the end of summer? Because we really have to judge everything today, and then if we can, week to week.
For me, man, I don't know. Whatever comes. In this industry, there's no guarantees for anything. So, whatever comes. I'm I'm chilling. I don't need to get out, do anything. I got my nice little computer set up with my video games. You know, when everything's calmed down and everything's all right, then I'll just go with the flow. I mean I do my little mini workouts here with my like 30-pound weight, and that's about it. And do a couple of push-ups, and I feel good for the day. That's cool.
And give your website links.
Just Eman Howell, Howell, or Emmanuel Howell. I don't really have a website or I'm not like a big social media person. I have it because of the industry and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just here, and people want to talk to me. People talk to me. I got a couple fans and stuff that hit me up on Instagram, and yeah, I just sitting here. I just paint. I painted that dragon behind me and stuff like that. So.
Nice.
And Ralph, you?
You can see more about me at theethicalhacker.net, and then really a lot of my involvement now, like I said, is with my daughter and their little group called Manifestus. You can check out on YouTube, all one word, and just a bunch of talented cats from across the world. And so check out Manifestus and theethicalhacker.net.
Hey, so before I get to Terry, they're not going to have their hackers convention this year. What are the hackers going to do?
They're just going to hack from home instead of hack from Vegas.
That's what I thought. I was been thinking about it for like a month. I'm like, I know they're going to plan something weird. I just know it.
Yeah. DEF CON's about 30,000 people that normally would show up in Vegas for this. And it is a hacker convention, not a cybersecurity convention. So yeah, it can't happen. And so it's all going to be online. Everybody's figuring out how to use the tools that we have. And it is sort of a hack job, like, we're using this for that and that for this, trying to put it together and paywall this feed. And it's just a bit of a mess right now. But that is actually ultimately a good thing, because it's pushing the envelope on innovation, on truly innovating technology and making it a lot more physical. I know that sounds crazy, but as these two worlds collide. But yeah, it's going to be interesting what DEF CON is like when there is no physical DEF CON.
Okay, Terry, give me social media links, and then what are you going to do this weekend? What do you got coming up?
My terrymurrayofficial.com is my website. Nonstop Terry Murray on Instagram and on YouTube. I bought a paddleboard, and I have to test it out. I haven't had a chance to test it out yet. So I'm going to go out here on the ocean and get some sun. So,
good for you. And I meant to tell you, you look good. I wanted to tell you, you look good.
Oh, I got a new lighting for the show, so that's why. So I got professional lighting.
Oh,
so
come
I
on,
Let's see them guns. You got the muscles. Let's see those fitness muscles.
Oh yeah.
More than
She's strong. She's strong.
It's not the light, Terry. It's you. You are the light.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah, you can check out. I got a lot of my fitness stuff on my Instagram on Nonstop Terry Murray. So.
Awesome.
And so that everybody knows, she is a social media network. She has been all around with us. She's really good when it comes to a lot of our red carpet interviews. So with that, Eman, Ralph, Terry, I want to thank everybody. This is Movie Reviews and More. And please check out the channels. Please subscribe to them. And we will see you next week. And if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it.